Well, if you're waiting for Trudeau and his Liberal Party to become less despicable, well, don't hold your breath, because here we go again, folks. Here's the headline. Government-funded school pamphlet calls Canada's red ensign a hate symbol, and that's not all. A booklet made for school children that calls the red ensign flag a hate symbol and identifies the Conservative Party as a target of infiltration by racists was approved by Cabinet yesterday as a taxpayer-funded project. Quote, this new resource will be delivered through workshops in schools across the country, and it will help raise awareness with students, Diversity Minister Ahmed Hassan told reporters. The booklet would help teach core values to our kids. Let's rewrite that. It will help indoctrinate our kids. It will propagandize our kids. So this guide called Confronting and Preventing Hate in Canadian Schools is being funded by the taxpayers to the tune of $268,000. And who's this written by? Well, it's written by the Canadian Anti-Hate Network. And in this guide, they also warn students to be wary of classmates who speak fondly of Donald Trump. So the Canadian Anti-Hate Network could reasonably be renamed the Canadian Hate Network because they hate everybody who doesn't agree with them on everything, and they're quite extreme. And who are they, the Anti-Hate Network? Well, let's see. The chair is a guy called Bernie Farber. And he doesn't have a great track record recently. I mean, not if we were to judge by this. Here's a tweet he put out during the Freedom Convoy in Ottawa. It said, taken by a friend in Ottawa at the occupation. Yeah, he's not hiding his politics here, is he? Not at all. He doesn't need to. In fact, it's better that he doesn't. Not if he wants to get big grants from Trudeau. But in any case, he says this was apparently in plain sight. And what's he talking about? Well, this is a anti-Semitic flyer. And there's just one problem with this. And this was noted on Twitter by journalist Jonathan Kay. Says, wow, Bernie, isn't it incredible that the picture your friend in Ottawa at the occupation sent you is identical to the photo posted on Twitter 2 weeks ago by someone in Miami, right down to the ceramic design in the background. It's incredible, isn't it? You'd almost be led to believe that perhaps this was a hoax. And I don't know. I mean, I guess when you're in the business of finding hate, you better find some hate. That is, if you want to get hundreds of thousands of dollars from the Trudeau government. And let's take a look at this booklet from the Anti-Hate Network. But this is a very long document. I'll put a link in the description if you want to read it all, but we're going to go to a couple of just interesting points. Here's one part. Why do students of color participate in hate movements? Although white nationalism is explicitly BIPOC and anti-immigrant, many students of color actively contribute and have been involved with hate-promoting movements. In Canada, the Proud Boys have insisted they are not a hate group because they are multiracial and previously had a Latino leader in the U.S. Educators have shared stories with us about students of color engaging in hate movement organizing, including white nationalism. So, I don't know, it might be a clue that the white nationalist group isn't a white nationalist group if they're not all white. And the non-white people who join them might also be aware of this. In fact, it seems entirely possible that the Canadian Anti-Hate Network is lying, or is just frankly insane, or their definition of what white nationalism is so broad that it could mean literally anything. And really what's happening here is that they just hate anything conservative. And check this out. If you want to just see how biased this is, sometimes educators and students will find themselves in the position of requiring an immediate response to a student in class who invokes a bigoted ideology. Well, what kind of thing could that be? Let's see. A student argues in favor of a problematic politician or policy. Example, Trump's wall in classroom discussion. So border security is now hate. I mean, the irony of this is that Canada actually has a tougher immigration policy than the United States. So, a student arguing in favor of a problematic politician or policy. So obviously Trump is the problematic politician there. This is just brainwashing. This is propaganda. This is insanity. And then it ends with a student uses the Hitler salute in class. Okay, so arguing in favor of a border wall is the same thing as a student using A Hitler salute in class. Okay. I guess we know where you stand, anti-hate network. And I have to say, to Trudeau, money well spent. Money well spent. I'm sure he's thrilled by this. And look at how creepy and Soviet all this is. If you feel safe doing so, gather evidence. Clarify that hate-promoting materials are not welcome in your classroom in any form. So I'm assuming that includes biology textbooks. And you knew they weren't going to be big fans of free speech, right? Of course not. It says here, don't let hate-promoting groups. Now, again, hate-promoting groups is just anybody who disagrees with radical leftism. But anyway, don't let hate-promoting groups frame the conversation. Stay focused on the values of your community and the needs of students. Hate-promoting groups will co-opt language about free speech and cultural identity to steer the dialogue away from the bigoted nature of who they are and what they do. So that's right. If you talk about free speech, obviously you're talking about cultural identity and you're a bigot. This is the magic spell, which I believe is breaking, but this is the magic spell that they've been using for so long. If you disagree with them, you're a bigot. If you say that you need free speech for a functioning democracy, you're a bigot. You're trying to steer away from the bigoted nature of who you are and what you do. And again, I think you could very easily call this the Canadian hate network. Because, again, just listen to this language that they're using. The bigoted nature of who they are and what they do. And I love how they lump in free speech. This is what they have to do. They lump in free speech with cultural identity. That's very deliberate. And again, this is part of the magic spell where they just call you a bigot and you have to sit down and shut up. Well, I'm sorry, but the spell is breaking. It's not working anymore. But anyway, and of course, last but not least, hate-promoting symbols, Canadian red ensign. So it was the flag of Canada until 1965, and anything older than 15 minutes ago, of course, is hate. So I guess that has to be scrubbed from all the history books, because you wouldn't want to promote hate, right? So as you can see, this is all insane. And this Canadian anti-hate network has always got its hand out, by the way. It's a federally subsidized group that earlier received an identical $268,400 grant to operate its website. So as you can see, this is all totally insane. And the fact that the chair of this Canadian anti-hate network has just recently been caught flat out conducting a hate hoax online, that doesn't matter. I'm sure Trudeau's happy as long as he just keeps demonizing Canadians. Well, Canadians that don't like Trudeau. Anyway, please subscribe, like, and share. Sharing really helps me out. Sharing makes a big difference. I notice it when people share my content. Thank you for that. I will see you next time.